Hi kids and parents, Mr. Paul here. I'm going to show you this week's experiment, but before we do that, I just want you to think back to last week's experiment. When we put into the freezer, we put the spoon, we put the chocolate buds, we put the oil, we also put some honey, we put some wine in the freezer. And something that I learned from last week's experiment is that alcohol, which is in wine, has a lower freezing point than water. So when I pulled those things out of the freezer, the honey was hard and solid, and the oil was hard and solid, but the wine was still liquid. So it hadn't actually reached its freezing point. So that's something that I learned from last week. So this week's experiment, you're going to need to have these things. I've got a little piece of paper, a block of wood, I've got a metal spoon, and you're going to need some tongs. Because over here, on the stove, I've got some boiling water, and we're going to put these objects into the boiling water, and we're going to boil them up for 5 minutes, okay? So here's my boiling water. Now I'm going to put the things in with the spoon, in with the paper, and in with the wood. And I'm going to leave them there for 5 minutes, okay? So I'm going to put 5 minutes on my timer, and off they go in the boiling liquid. So girls and boys, I hope you enjoyed doing that experiment, and you've probably got some questions in your mind. I do. So here are my questions. Why did none of these objects melt? So in previous ones we've seen the chocolate buttons melt. They went from being a solid to a liquid. I'm wondering why these ones didn't melt. Next, I wonder what temperature is necessary or needed to make metal melt into a liquid. So, I know metal does melt into a liquid, but I wonder what temperature is needed to make that happen. Next, what happens to paper and wood when they become really, really hot? So, paper and wood get heated up really, really hot. I'm wondering what's going to happen to them. So my last question is, why don't paper and wood become liquids like metal does? And that's a really interesting question. There must be something about paper and wood that is different than metal, because metal goes from being a solid to a liquid, and there must be something different about that wood and paper that they don't do that. They don't go from a solid to a liquid, they just go from a solid and then they get burned up. So, girls and boys, I hope you've enjoyed doing the experiment today, and I hope you've been thinking about solids and liquids. Have a look at my other video that I've made about changing states, and I hope that will help you to think about what's going on with the different objects. And I'm going to see you all for our next experiment next week. Bye.